In the summer of 2023, the Indiana town of Franklin was gripped by fear. A series of break-ins left thousands of residents paralyzed with anxiety, afraid to leave their homes. Among them was Carla Wilson, who lived in a quiet neighborhood in the southeast. On the morning of July 13, Carla woke up to find that something was wrong. Her favorite diamond ring was missing from her nightstand, and a sinking feeling began to rise in the pit of her stomach. Confused, she wandered around the house, trying to remember where she might have misplaced it. As she walked through the front door, her heart sank. It was slightly ajar. A wave of fear washed over her as she rushed to check the footage from her Ring camera. She pressed the play button, and what she saw made her blood run cold. In grainy footage, a hooded man with a bushy beard casually walks into her garage in the middle of the night. He moves with uncanny precision, without a moment's hesitation in his movements. Carla watches in horror as he grabs a can of W40 from her shelf, sprays it along the hinges of her front door, and silently creeps into her home. The footage continues like a nightmare. The man walks to Carla's bedroom, where she is sleeping, completely unaware of the intruder's presence. He stands in the doorway for a moment, watching her, his face obscured by shadows. Then, as if deciding that she is no threat, he walks into the living room, taking the time to rummage through her belongings. He pockets her jewelry, including her beloved diamond ring, while Carla sleeps just a few feet away, the bedroom door wide open. The man spent a total of 7 minutes in her home, calmly stealing whatever he pleased. Before leaving, he paused at the front door, glanced back at Carla's bedroom, and then walked out into the night, leaving no trace except for the video. Carla never heard him, never woke from her sleep. But the thought of how close she had come to waking up, to confronting this intruder, haunted her. When the police arrived, they were disturbed by the level of preparation the burglar had shown. He was clearly experienced, methodical. He had taken steps to ensure his presence would not be detected, even silencing the door hinges. The police were certain that this man was behind dozens of break-ins that had plagued the area. Despite the gruesome video, the thief was never caught. For Carla, the incident left a scar deeper than any loss of property. Knowing that a stranger had walked through her house, watched her sleep, and left without a trace was a terror she could never escape. She could never lie in bed without feeling vulnerable, wondering if the man might return someday, and if he did this time, she wouldn't be so lucky. Jeff D. had grown accustomed to the quiet solitude of his West Virginia home. Living alone, he had found comfort in the routine of coming home after a long day of work, relaxing and recuperating in the peace of the space. But on the night of June 18, 2017, that peace was shattered in a way he never could have imagined. It was around 3:45 a.m. When Jeff arrived home. The first thing that struck him was the chaos that greeted him as he entered. His house, usually neat and tidy, looked as if a tornado had ripped through it. Furniture was toppled, pottery shattered, and random objects were strewn everywhere, as if someone had taken pleasure in causing as much destruction as possible. As he carefully moved through the chaos, he noticed something even more disturbing: the smell. In a panic, Jeff backed out of The man was later identified as Stacy Foster, a local resident with a history of substance abuse. But even after the police assured Jeff that Foster was no longer a threat, the feeling of being violated remained. His home, once a sanctuary, now felt defiled, and every time he looked at his bed, he could still see the stranger lying there, as if he had left a piece of himself behind. The bustling streets of Chicago have always been a comfort to Jack Macker and his girlfriend, Jordan Barkis. Their apartment was a haven, a cozy space where they could relax after long days, often falling asleep on the couch while watching. But on the night of July 25, 2016, their safe haven was invaded in the most disturbing way. The next morning, as sunlight streamed through the curtains, Jordan woke up to find her wallet missing. At first, she and Jack assumed it had been left at the restaurant they had visited the night before. But as the argument over the missing wallet grew heated, Jack decided to check the footage from their security cameras, hoping it could shed some light on the situation. What they found on the ice made their blood run cold. At around 3:30 a.m., as they both slept soundly on the couch, a figure appeared at the top of the stairs. The intruder moved eerily slowly, his face partially obscured by... He stood there, completely still, watching them from above as they slept, completely unaware of his... For 4 long minutes, the man hovered at the top of the stairs, just staring at them. The couple's 2 dogs, who usually responded quickly to any noise, remained silent, curled up at their feet. The intruder's movements were so deliberate, so quiet, that even the dogs didn't stir. After what seemed like an eternity, the man finally turned and walked down the stairs as silently as he had come. He passed Jack and Jordan without a sound, walked out the front door, and disappeared into the night, taking only Jordan's wallet with him. The police were called immediately, but there was nothing they could do. The intruder left no fingerprints, no evidence of who he was or where he had gone. The only clue was the chilling video, which the couple replayed over and over again, each time feeling the cold grip of fear tighten around them. The thought that a stranger had been standing so close, watching them as they slept, was enough to shatter any sense of security they had ever felt. Despite efforts to warn neighbors and the police's best efforts to track him down, the man was never found. Jack and Jordan couldn't shake the feeling that he was still out there, perhaps watching someone else, waiting for the next opportunity. And every night as they lay in bed, they couldn't help but wonder if he might return, sneaking silently into their home again. is supposed to be a safe place. A neighborhood where families can sleep soundly at night, safe in the knowledge that their doors and windows are locked. But in November 2015, that sense of security was shattered for one family when their home was invaded in the most gruesome way. It was late at night when the intruder struck. Security cameras captured every chilling moment as a man wearing a backpack and a black baseball cap with the word diamond on it approached the house. He moved purposefully, slipping through the unlocked back door without making a sound. Once inside, he crept through the house like a predator stalking its prey, every step cautious, every movement calculated. When he reached the master bedroom, the intruder dropped to his hands and knees. Clutched between his teeth was a knife, the blade gleaming in the dim light. He crawled across the floor, moving closer to the bed where the occupants slept, unaware of the danger lurking just a few feet away. The man's eyes darted around the room, searching for valuables. But his movements were slow, almost as if he were savoring the moment, the thrill of being so close to his unsuspecting victims. For several agonizing minutes, he continued to crawl around the bedroom, the knife still clutched between his teeth. At one point, he reached for the nightstand where a woman's purse lay, his fingers brushing the lead. But just as he was about to grab it, one of the occupants stirred in his sleep, causing the intruder to freeze. Heart pounding, the man slowly backed away, retreating toward the door. He slipped out of the bedroom as quietly as he had entered, leaving the house eerily silent. When the homeowners woke up the next morning, they found the back door open and the wallet untouched. It wasn't until they reviewed the security footage that they realized how close they had come to the nightmare. The footage showed every move the man made, the knife glinting in his mouth as he crawled across their bedroom floor. The thought of what might have happened if they had woken up at those moments haunted them for weeks. The intruder was never caught, leaving the family in constant fear that he might return, that next time they wouldn't be so lucky. The small town of Rare, Washington, is known for its tight-knit community and peaceful, picturesque landscape. But in the early morning hours of April 10, 2020, the Archer family's peaceful life was turned upside down by a terrifying encounter with a man who seemed to have lost all grip on reality. It was just after midnight when Allison Archer heard the sound of metal scraping against concrete. At first, she thought it might be an animal, perhaps a raccoon rummaging through the trash outside. But as the noise grew louder and more persistent, she realized something was very wrong. Her husband, Mark, was still awake, reading in the living room. He heard the noise too and went to the window to investigate. What he saw made his blood run cold. Standing in the driveway was a man, his hair disheveled and eyes wide, holding a rusty shovel. He was shoveling the ground, his movements erratic and jerky, as if he were trying to dig for something invisible. Mark immediately called Allison, telling her to get the kids and lock herself in the bedroom. Mark grabbed a baseball bat from the closet and cautiously approached the front door. The man with the shovel was now pacing back and forth in front of the house, muttering to himself, his eyes darting around as if searching for something or someone. Mark yelled at the man to leave, but the stranger didn't respond. Instead, he turned toward the house and started up the steps to the front porch, shovel still clutched in his hand. Panic rose in Mark as he locked the front door and backed away, desperately trying to figure out what to do next. The man began pounding on the door with a shovel, metal hitting wood with a deafening clang. Mark could hear his children crying in the bedroom, Allison trying to comfort them as the pounding grew louder and more intense. In a moment of absolute terror, Mark realized the man was trying to break down the door. He had to act quickly. He yelled for Allison to call the police as he stood in front of the door, baseball bat in hand, ready to defend his family. But before the intruder could break down the door, the siren tore through the night air. The man with the shovel froze, his wild eyes suddenly filled with confusion. He looked around as if waking from a trance, then dropped the shovel and fled into the darkness, disappearing into the woods behind the house. When the police arrived, they searched the area but found no trace of him. The Archer family was stunned and terrified, unable to comprehend what had happened. The man had left no clues, no reason for his strange behavior. The police speculated that he may have been mentally unstable or under the influence of drugs, but they never found him. The Archer family can't shake the feeling that the man is still out there somewhere, wandering the woods with his shovel, searching for something or waiting for the right moment to strike again. Thank you for joining me in these terrifying moments. If you like horror stories like this, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel. Let's create a community that loves scary stories together.